Square same Zimbabwe. Welcome to our channels in Conflations and Deep Secrets. Kana kariki kutanga uko hapa nino channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Kana chungwa garora subscribe, but don't forget to comment and share this video. Nasi Zimbabwe takwigirai nyaya ya buditswa na majaira jairo siwe ya buda chitaura iya chiti. There was a National Security Council meeting yakaitwa yaichewa na President Mnangagwa, and during this meeting President Mnangagwa expressed that Christopher Mutsvangwa was now a liability huyo arikushanda near the fifth column kuti awanikwa undermine the government and the justice system. Chinzi kutaura kwatuita President Mnangagwa about my political prisoners arambe ari mujeri. Asi recently during a recent pressa ya Christopher Mutsvangwa akabuda achisuggesta achitara iye achiti he knows kuti Mnangagwa nevana vake they are controlling the justice system mu Zimbabwe. Akataura iye achiti so they are going to facilitate to make sure kuti my human rights defenders nema political activists are released mu Zimbabwe. Sina kupera mushe nema citizens shinzi Mutsvangwa atanga nyaya dzake dzekutaurisa majaira sakabuda achitara iye achiti there was a National Security Council meeting which was chaired by Mnangagwa, in which he expressed that Christopher Mutsvangwa was a liability and working with the fifth column to undermine the government and the justice system. Mnangagwa wants political prisoners to remain in prison. Well, in his recent presser, Mutsvangwa suggested what we all know, that Mnangagwa and his children control the justice system in Zimbabwe. Human rights defenders and political activists will only be released when they want. This is why I always call for protest to resist such. Buda Stauro na majairo se mure Zimbabwe. Toro kwatruku there are rumors are kubuda arunzi Mutsvangwa might be fired nekuda kwe his loud mouth pakabuda because his tasteless behavior could worsen tensions mu Zimbabwe. Mshirime kunga kabuda achitaura nyaya kabuda achitaura yema activist akasungwa mu Zimbabwe. The Blood 24 yakabuda achitaura yachiti political commentators have strongly condemned Zanu PF spokesperson Christopher Mutsvangwa after he laughed at the plight of incarcerated activists during a recent press briefing in Harare. They warned that such tasteless behavior could worsen tensions in the country. Mutsvangwa praised the country's security forces for arresting the activists, claiming they had received their deserved medicine, and that since the SADC summit, even the SADC summit event allegedly intended to disrupt was over, there was no reason to keep them in prison. His remarks elicited fierce backlash from various political analysts and opposition figures who regarded them as a disturbing reflection of Zanu PF's history of violence and disregard for human rights. In an interview with Site, political commentator Hokoyo criticized Mutsvangwa for conflating the roles of the ruling party and the government, accusing him of undermining the independence of law enforcement agencies. He was quoted as saying, Mutsvangwa must understand there is a difference between the ruling party and the government, yet we still see him conflating the two with his statement. He has no right to speak on behalf of either the government or security forces. What he is confirming is that our law enforcement agents are not independent but operate as a tool in the hands of the ruling party, and that it is quite unfortunate. Zanu noted that Zanu PF will always make political decisions that are inimical to the development of the country decisions, aimed at crushing political opponents as they have been doing since 1980, beginning with Kukura Undi. He added that Zanu PF should understand that even if they are the party in government, they are not the government. He was quoted as saying, it is also unfortunate that because of this conflation, our security forces could found themselves having to act against the very constitution they must protect in aid of a political party that is failing to govern and would rather silence dissent. Political activist Future Msevele said it was upset that Mutsvangwa made fun of people who have been arrested not for protesting but for being seen by security forces as having the potential to protest. It does not get worse than this. Mutsvangwa is showing us that Zanu is a scadenfood organization. How can one find pleasure in arresting innocent people? He questioned. Does this mean that activists will be arrested every time our country hosts a major summit? It is a common knowledge that no government can remain in power by arresting dissenting voices. Some of us who come from Matabeleland are reminded of the Matabeleland genocide. The Mutsvangwas have become worse than the white colonial regime. Is this what they meant when they talked of Kutonga Kwaru? Another political analyst, Patrick Lovu, added that ZANU-PF's violent tendencies are deeply rooted in its history, dating back to its days in Mozambique during the liberation struggle. He noted that Mutsvangwa's reaction was consistent with the party's legacy of using violence and intimidation to silence opposition voices. Various biographies written by Zanu people speak of incarceration in pits and torture as a way of indoctrination. It is not surprising that Mutsvangwa, an enforcer and the enabler of the system, would find it funny that the police actually tortured and arrested people exercising their constitutional right to assemble and protest. Lovo remarked. ZAPU Secretary General Mkulisi Anana echoed Lovu's sentiments, describing Mutsvangwa's remarks as indicative of a bloodthirsty leadership that prioritizes political repression over addressing the genuine concerns of Zimbabweans. It is clear Zimbabwe is led by bloodthirsty leaders who have their priorities wrong, Anana said. Mutsvangwa's utterances show that Zanu is now brazenly arrogant. They do not have any decorum or decency in running the country. This is why they brag about arbitrary arrest and a flawed justice system that denies people bail simply because they are serving the interests of ZANU-PF. The ZAPU SG added that Mutsvangwa's utterances were synonymous with people who have always survived by killing. Zanu supposedly fought Smith only to replace him with a system that is more brutal, insensitive, bloodthirsty, and lacking any sense of iota of development. Anana said, we need Zimbabweans to show them that what they fear is not something to be done by a few individuals. A lot of Zimbabweans are disgruntled by this government, and sooner or later, without being led by anyone, Zimbabweans will do to Mutsvangwa and his friends what ZAPU and Zebra did to Ian Smith. General Secretary of Zimbabwe Communist Party, Nicholas Mabena, went further, labeling Mutsvangwa's comment as criminal and calling for his arrest. It cannot be correct that you violate the rights of individuals, the right to protest, on the basis that you believe they are going to disrupt an event, Mabena urged. What Mutsvangwa is saying is criminal, and he must be charged for that. Mabena highlighted that protests were not only about Zimbabwe's internal issues, but also about broader concerns within the SADC region. We have civil society leaders from Eswatini and other countries who wanted to demonstrate, and led by Zimbabwean activists who raise issues that are happening in other countries. And this is what happens in other SADC countries where civil society will organize protests, he said. Zvabudizwa netiblawa 24 muri Zimbabwe tingaziva kuti munhu sei nyaya itudzo zvamukufunga pamusoro penyaya iyi mu comment section.